also in the U.S. I think people are realizing now more than ever what a fantastic achievement it was. Probably in the future, they'll look back and say it was probably the highlight and most remarkable achievement that man made in the last decade. In this respect, as you saw the Kennedy TV spot, first of all, I'd like to thank the Kennedy Foundation who allowed us to use JFK's imagery for this very important message. I think it's important that we remember who is behind this incredible mission statement that we made in the early 60s. I think it's important to remember also that in 61, when JFK made that first statement about the moon, Alan Shepard had just been in space as the first American, so he was saying it at a very early stage, and yeah, I think he set out a deadline that they managed to achieve with great success. Obviously, for me, it was an incredible achievement. The watch was chosen by NASA, and strenuous tests were made. And 65, as Gregory Smith said, Omega Steam Master was certified as the official watch for all manned space missions. And even today, every shuttle that goes into space, the astronauts will wear an Omega Steam Master. I think also the decision by Kennedy and by the NASA to go to the moon changed the lives of many men. 12 of them went on the moon, and we're very fortunate to have here one person in particular who was the first man to wear the Omega watch on the moon in Apollo 11. And we have here a very, very wonderful person who is now, we did an event in Basel with him and got to know him and his family even more here today, Dr. Aldrin, and here I think we have a little film to show.
This man first took flight with the U.S. Air Force. In 1952, he flew combat missions over Korea. In 1963, he joined NASA, where he pioneered the technique of manned space rendezvous. In 1956, he broke the record for the longest space walk, spending 5.5 hours in the vacuum of space. 21st of July 1969, he was one of the first men to set foot on the moon.
Hold back right. Okay, engine stop. We're stopping you down, Eagle.
In total, he spent 21 hours on the moon's surface.
Beautiful, beautiful. Magnificent desolation.
This man is Buzz Aldrin.
So I'd like to welcome now Buzz to come on stage. Dr. Aldrin. So Buzz, the floor is yours.
It's nice to come from sunny California to where I grew up on the East Coast in New Jersey, and I've always desired to return back to New York City and to see the vibrant living conditions that are here. And what a wonderful story you put together. Thank you. I just love to look at things that move with great precision. Werner von Braun gave us some machines that moved with great precision, and then American industry gave us the spacecraft that went around the world with great speed. It was a challenge to know just what to do with things that move around at great speed, and I was challenged by that as a fighter pilot in furthering my education up the coast a bit at MIT. I decided that it was a challenge to try to bring these two things that are moving pretty fast together, and that was probably one of the wisest decisions that I've made. And that opened the door to me to get into the space program. I was motivated to do that by a very good friend of mine from West Point, Ed White. We flew supersonic fighters together over in Germany after we had been on the track team together at West Point. He was a hurdler, and I was a pole vaulter. I managed to get a little higher than he did. But we were pretty good gunnery experts, but, you know, I did a little bit better than he did. Well, he went back and went through the Michigan, got his master's degree, test pilot school, and then we were communicating, and he said, I'm going to apply for this astronaut program. I figured I might as well, too. So we both applied. Of course, he had test pilot training, and I didn't, so he was selected in the second group in 1962, and then I was given the opportunity to apply again, and they changed the rules very nicely, and so I was selected. And Ed had his great flight, being the first American to do a spacewalk. I think it was 1965.
65.
And I had my opportunity to be on the backup crew for Gemini 9, and a little bit before that, I got my badge of honor, and that is to wear the Mega Watch as we went through training for the backup crew. And then, as was mentioned in the video, I got to fly on the last Gemini flight with Jim Lovell, and to do spacewalking. Being a scuba diver, I welcomed the opportunity to be the first person to train underwater in neutral buoyancy. And those are all the backgrounds that led to three very fortunate guys, Neil Armstrong, Mike Collins, and Buzz Aldrin, to be selected. At first, Neil and I were in the backup crew of the first flight that orbited around the moon, December 1968. And for those older folks here, you may remember them reading from Genesis, very moving on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
And it got NASA into a little bit of trouble. But from that point, shortly thereafter, the crew was selected for Apollo 11. We went through training and carried out things very successfully. After 2 more missions were successful with the lander in Earth orbit, and then we exercised the lander lunar module in a dress rehearsal with Apollo 10, opened the door, and we left the Earth on July 16th. Got the job done and came back on July 24th. No big deal. Any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Aldrin.
Little anecdote there, Buzz. You know, you talk about Ed White. The fact is, when communications weren't the same back then as they are now, most of you realize it. It's when Omega saw a picture in the local paper in Switzerland that Ed White was wearing a watch that they realized he was wearing a Speedmaster. In fact, they had no idea that, you know, NASA had gone through all the tests. It was done really completely in an anonymous way. So it's an incredible story, not like today where, you know, everything is known on the minute it happens. So that was the beginning of an incredible adventure, and here is Buzz, who was the first man to walk on the moon with a watch. Now, so I don't know if questions, and I don't know if...
Thank you, Stephen. I think we have a couple of questions. Just I wanted to kick things off.
Okay.
I just had a couple of questions for, first question for Dr. Aldrin. Doctor, could you share your thoughts on why space exploration is important?
Well, there are many reasons why. Back in 1957, I think a number of us in the United States and in the world were rather shocked when the Russians, somewhat backward nation, that had rather rapidly evolved in their successes in World War II, were able to take the technology not just of threatening the world here and there with their bombers and nuclear weapons, but they were able to put a satellite spike up. And so the world responded, and it looked like there was going to be a bit of a competitiveness with the Russian dog in orbit, photographing the backside of the moon, taking pictures and naming all the significant craters about with Russian names from historical people. That's good public relations on that one. But we put our monkeys up, and they beat us to the orbital flight with Yuri Gagarin. And a couple weeks later, Alan Shepard was given the opportunity of a 15-minute suborbital flight. But after that, that's when the president said,